Welcome to another episode on the HighLevel Experience Podcast, where we dive deep into strategies and stories that propel your SaaS and your agency's success. Now, today, we have a truly multifaceted guest joining us. He's a seasoned entrepreneur with over 2 decades of experience in building and exiting software companies, a Taekwondo black belt, and a devoted father of 2. As the co-founder of HighLevel Suite and a Gold Award SaaSpreneur, he is someone who shapes his future with the decision he makes today. Not to mention, he's also stepping into the podcasting world with his new show, Influencer Empires. Please welcome to the show, the one and only Walt Bayliss, co-founder of HighLevel Suite.
Hey V, thanks so much, man. That's a great intro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, great to have you here. It's been a long time coming.
Yeah.
We've been in comments for the last, I don't know how long, 4 years, I think, in the industry. So it's been really good. All our interactions always been great. And so, yeah, it's fantastic to have you here today, mate. With your extensive experience, in entrepreneurship and your recent venture into podcasting with Influencer Empires, could you share what initially sparked your interest in the tech and software industry, and how has that passion evolved into what you're doing today?
Yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it. So, my story goes back to when my first daughter was born. So I was working a job. I was working for someone else. And when my daughter was born, she suddenly became the most important thing I've ever done. Up until that point, I was the ultimate employee. I was in at the office at 7 a.m. I wouldn't get home until 8 p.m. I was dedicated. But when she was born, I remember the day very clearly. Like my wife was actually still in the hospital. And I took her a croissant in the morning and headed to the office. And I got to the office. I was the first one there, had the keys unlocked, sitting at my desk. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? My wife's still in the hospital. It was that day that I started a side hustle. And I started looking for a side hustle. I started to think to myself, what can I do to get myself out of this space? And it took, 2.5 years. By the time my second daughter was born, I was free. But I started to look for ways to make money outside of working in a job. And one of the first things that I created was a software platform. And I didn't really mean to. I knew some people who were software developers, and I was working with a software company. So the developers that were working there were my friends. And I said to this friend of mine, Ian, dude, I've got this idea. Can I share it with you and you code it and we'll partner up? And Ian kept his side of the bargain. He created an amazing software. I absolutely failed because my marketing sucked. So he created this incredible software. I was spending a ton on advertising, but that led me to explore advertising online, lead generation online, creating leads and opportunities using online methods. And then, 20 years later, that's still where we play. So we have constantly focused on how to create business and opportunities and new clients using technology and online methods. And these days, we have an amazing software company bedded in with HighLevel, of course. Why would you go anywhere else? And just love that journey. So it was desperation for time that led me to becoming an entrepreneur, and just, I guess, luck that it was technology and it was software itself that led me down that path.
Yeah, mate, I can totally relate to this. And I think a lot of the listeners listening right now can relate to this whole thing of hustle. Like, we try and do our best. And like you said, working long days, just trying to make the break, like get the final break in the industry. And it's a journey that we all can relate to, I'm sure. But there's also something that I know about you that you didn't tell me, but I know it from Johan. When I had Johan on, and he shared that experience when he came across you at the time before you start working with Johan. You were doing a whole bunch of stuff. I think it was 10 different projects he mentioned. You were just juggling the balls, right?
Yeah. So I got busy. We launched company after company after company, and they were all kind of around the same framework, all about businesses, growth and expansion and that kind of stuff. And when I caught up with Johan, who's now my business partner with HighLevel Suite, we had a breakfast and he said, how you doing? I'm tired, man. I'm exhausted. We were running 6 different companies, 6 different software brands. And it was Johan who actually said, dude, these are all angled at the same audience. You're going after the same group of people. Why don't you bring it all under one banner and run it from there? And I was like, that's a great idea. Why don't you come and do it with me? To which Johan said no. because he was already doing his own stuff. And it was actually, 24, 48 hours later, he was coming, we obviously keeping in conversation, having a chat. And he said, no, look, here's the idea, you take it, you go with it. And he was busy running his own business there at the same time. But through the next, 24, 48 hours, we just kept talking it through. So what would it look like? How would that happen? What could we create together? And so we formed the company in 2021 as a partnership. And yeah, we found HighLevel very soon after that and realized that was going to be a great hub to keep everything together. And along that way, like HighLevel has just massively improved, as you know, Vit, and as anybody who's listening would attest, they just continuously evolve. And so all of those different brands of companies or different software that we had really was taking a second string to HighLevel with their advancement. So we had a reputation management program. HighLevel's reputation management just took off. We had a social media management platform. HighLevel has now an incredible social media management tool in there. So we wound back the 6 different programs that we had. We went all in on HighLevel, and we then realized that the one key focus for all of our people using HighLevel, for anybody that was speaking, for any of our HighLevel agencies that we were talking to, was lead generation, was ability to open doors with leads. So we shut down all of the other brands of the software and we just went all in on that one focus with lead gen. So yeah, Johan's right. I was juggling, man. It was hard work, but bringing everything together has been the best thing ever.
Yeah. And I definitely want to delve into that more, but also what pops in my mind right now is something that I said yesterday. There's a thing here in Canberra called the Canberra Innovation Center, and they do this program for startups, but it helps you clarify your market, clarify your page. And whilst I've already been around enough, the company that I run, been running for a few years, I'm a big believer of, just going back to the beginning and see if you missed anything. Are we on the right track?
Nice.
Right? And I was sitting at the table and it was a slide about, your like knowing when the idea needs to innovate. And then I just said, I said it maybe too loud. I said, you got to know when to kill the puppy. And then, those people, the presenter was talking, so I didn't have a chance to explain the rest of it. And everybody was like, "Whoa, dude, don't talk to me. What's you weirdo?"
So what did you actually mean by that?
So this is so a mate of mine. He's a CEO of the Canberra Innovation Center, and way back he gave me this 10 rules of innovation, and this is one of the rules: is knowing. And this is I'm going to relate back to what you said. So there's a segue, guys. It's not random. If you got an idea and you've been pursuing it for a while and it's not quite working, it's important to know when to kill the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're too emotional, like the puppy, you're emotional, you love your puppy. It's just the analogy. Yeah. So if you love the idea, you've been just hustling, trying to make it work, but you're just not getting through enough. You got to know when to kill it and move and pivot. And the fact that you had 6 of those ideas, and I'm not saying that they didn't work, right? I don't have the insights, but the fact that in any case that you've been able to just say, "Yep, okay, let's just do it," it's mind blowing, because I would think normally that's a lot more difficult process and takes longer for somebody to decide that, to take that leap of faith,
Yeah. I mean, it was difficult. There's been other times where holding on to the idea has nearly sent us broke. So I've probably learned from those experiences as well. But I think, for our listeners here, one of the great things, Vit, that you and I see all the time is that in the HighLevel space, of course, there's enough success stories continuously coming through. So you can have faith that this works. You know what I mean? And we see a lot of people coming into the HighLevel space, super excited, super pumped up. They might even be, first time entrepreneurs, and they're, I'm going to build my SaaSpreneur business up to 10,000 a month. And the next thing you know, they're talking about, I've been doing this for 3 months. I haven't made my first sale yet. And to your point, is that the point that you need to kill this off and go and do something else? I love Hermosi's, where he's talking about the valley of despair. And, you start with what he calls uneducated optimism. You're coming in and let's go. This is going to be the best thing ever. And then you end up with educated pessimism, which is, oh my God, this is a hell of a lot harder than I thought it was going to be, which puts you into the valley of despair, which is, I'm not going to make it. This is never going to work. And that's where most people bounce out of the idea. But we see enough people in the HighLevel space cracking that code, getting their first deal, getting their first one across the line. And then you're going out of that valley and you're into the informed optimism. Now you know what it takes. Now I know I can make it, but it takes that kind of faith to push through. I think you're right. As an entrepreneur, you got to know when to cut, when to run, when to dive in, and when to dig deep. And the great thing with the high level community that I'm finding is that there's so much success that you can follow those breadcrumbs. You can say, okay, cool. What have I got to do? Where have I got to change? And go back to basics, find out, solve a problem. And there's more than enough business for everyone to have more than enough business.
Yeah.
We're seeing people still hit the SaaSpreneur Gold and SaaSpreneur Platinum in their first 12 months. And that's incredible. And for somebody who's just getting started, they might be like, yeah, but I just need my first deal. Great, amazing. You can still scroll through that group with 100,000 strong now, and you can see a post almost every day where somebody made their first deal, or somebody got that first opportunity. So it's not just the I made $1 million in 6 months kind of world. It's also I got my first paycheck. I've got my first client. There's so much of that success. It's a great environment to be in.
Yeah, and now it's real. Now there's a validation, and it keeps you moving forward. So let's go back to what you said. So one thing that is common for everybody, I want to touch on that, and I'll follow up on what you said, is, there's so many different cool tools that HighLevel can do. It's incredible. But one thing that's common, like you said, is leads. Like, how do we generate leads, right? At the end of the day, that's where you can have all the amazing lead nurture systems and all the automations, but you got to feed the meat into the mincemeat, right?
Right, exactly.
Otherwise nothing happens. So
we find it as well. Like, so again, we're a little bit biased because lead generation is what we do, and we white label that software so that high-level agency owners can do the same thing. But we're a little bit biased. But what we find still to this day is when we go to speak to, everybody talks about what's your niche, where's your ideal client going to come from, and people talking about charging more. Don't go for the bottom of the barrel. Go for the bigger end. That's great advice, but the challenge that we find, Vid, is that you go and speak to a business and they have 3 salespeople, they've got a warehouse, they're distributing product, they're a business, they're doing what they're doing. It could be a chiropractor, it could be a warehouse, it could be a whatever. And GHL works with all of those environments. And you go to a business and you start talking to them about a CRM program, automated lead generation, automated lead management, websites and funnels, and all of that kind of stuff. And what we found, and what we still find, is that 9 times out of 10, that business already has a system. They're running HubSpot, they're running Salesforce, they're running Zoho, they're running, something else. And that's a really big decision for a business owner to make, to scrap their system that they've invested $100,000 in and go with you. But what we found is with that lead generation angle, what we are able to talk to people about is to keep the system that they have, right? Keep HubSpot, keep Salesforce, keep that going. Don't throw that out. But at the same time, you can set up and run a lead generation engine into what we call a pre-CRM, right? So before it gets across to your existing system, you're running that in, and that is an easy way to make the sale. So you're saying, don't throw out what you've spent that money on. Put this as a warm-up pre-CRM before it even gets into your HubSpot. And that's such an easier sell, because then you can say leads followed up using voice AI, using chat AI within GHL. Once they're qualified, once they've nurtured, then we're going to push them across into your HubSpot or into your Salesforce. And it makes that sale so much easier because you're not asking the business owner to just kill everything they've already got and switch over to you. Massive leap of faith. What you're saying is, let us get you more business and keep what you've got. And then, cool, let's go. Let's make that happen. It's a much, much, much easier sell.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. At the end of the day, it's having a conversation and see what they're struggling with. Like, I had a conversation this morning with a real estate buyer's agents. There's 2 partners in the firm, buyer's agents. They are currently using HubSpot, but having a conversation with them, I did discover that they are not happy with, they're not really using it that much. And right now they're only at the base plan, but later on they will be on a bigger plan, but they, confusing. So in this sense, perfect in for me to say, well, let's get you over into our thing, right? Stand out from the pack is our white level of GHL, right? But not everybody's like that. And especially if it's more established business, like you said, they're already using things, you're not going to get them across. It's like a square peg, round hole type of scenario.
It's a tough sale.
It's not, it's a tough one. So you got to find a way to another angle. So,
and that's where for us, that's where lead gen just opens the doors.
Exactly.
And especially when you do the 1-2 punch with a lead generation system and an automation program in the background through HighLevel. So you can say to a business owner, it's not just here's a lead gen tool, it's here's a lead gen system. So targeted leads into the system, nurtured, qualified, followed up, and then delivered back to you with value. Yeah. So no business, not another business on the planet wants to buy another tool. They just don't. It's just another thing they've got to do. But if you can show this is not a tool, this is a system. This works like this plays in this particular way. This is the way that you can build a funnel. You can keep your leads warmed up and nurtured. You can let AI do all the hard lifting for you. This is your ABC system and it runs for you in the background. Cool, man. When can you get started?
Yeah. So guys, just so you know, if you haven't heard of HighLevel Suite, here's my quick pitch, but I'll get you Walt to talk about all the latest and greatest in a second. I've been using it for a while with some breaks. My use case is a bit different. I take time on certain things. I'm probably the worst example when it comes to, going fast into the market. I'm too much of a perfectionist. I take time. But anyway, the tool is amazing. So I've actually just demonstrated this morning to those real estate buyer agents. They were looking for partnerships with local mortgage brokers, right? So I spin up the tool, logged in. I showed them, hey, look, here's how you do it. You put mortgage brokers into the field, you put location, in our case, Canberra, and hit search. And within seconds, it starts to generate a list of mortgage brokers in the area, the companies, but not just the companies, but also any employees that are working in there that have an email address that you can find, it will find. And within a couple of minutes, the lady I was talking to, she's looking at it, and I'm like, he's probably about 30 companies here. Let me click here. Okay, this company, this one? Oh, yeah, this is the one I've been trying to get to. Well, let me open it up. Hey, here we go. There's 5 emails right there, and they're all mortgage brokers. That's invaluable. That's what HighLevel Suite in a nutshell. But that's how I remember it. I haven't been engaging, in all honesty, with what you guys have been doing for the last probably 6 months. It's just because, it's hard to stay on top of everything.
No, of course.
But I've been following here and there. So can you explain the process, how it works now, and then also unpack how, because it is a cold email strategy. Can you clarify how that works? Because there is the mass cold email, and then this is slightly different. So just
there's a lot to that bit. So I'm hoping not to bore the listeners and not to do too much of a pitch here, but HighLevel Suite is a lead generation program, but cold email is just one element of it. The key part of it is that this is an AI-powered market intelligence tool. So if I say, and into your example, I'm looking for mortgage brokers, great. That's what we would call the company search. Here's all the mortgage brokers. Here's their names. Here's their social media accounts. Here's their email addresses. Here's their phone numbers. Great. That's kind of step one with our program these days. Now, what we have is AI that once you have that mortgage broker or that lead, that prospect that you're looking for, you can click one button and AI can do incredible things for you that, again, synchronize back to HighLevel. And you can do things like run an analysis on this company and find for me who the founders were, how long they've been in business, what kind of people they've served, what's their pain points, how have they applied for funding. So you can do all of this with AI. So now, instead of running a cold email, which is it's hard to break through the noise with cold email. Still effective, but it's hard to break through the noise. Now what you can do is you can personalize that outreach, and especially when we're talking AI within HighLevel. So here's what I mean.
Yeah.
If I reach out to a business and the AI has already done an incredible amount of research on that company with a click of a button, it's not people in the background, it's AI running. That company now has all of that data synchronized back into HighLevel. So now that company comes to the website and engages with the chatbot, and the chatbot is contextually aware of who it's speaking to. With a simple prompt that we have in the training, and there's plenty of examples of it around, with a simple prompt inside of the HighLevel program, or if you're adding in any additional AI bots working in the same way, the bot can speak to the prospect and know who they are. So rather than being two-dimensional, and this is the key piece, two-dimensional, what do I mean? When somebody comes to a website and engages with a chatbot, I ask a question and the chatbot responds to me based on the company information I've given it, right? We're this company, these are our opening hours, this is our products for sale, this is what we do, right? But what if that chatbot knew who it was talking to? So it could actually say, this is what we do. And this is how it can relate to you in your business. Oh, what do you know about my business already? This is what we know about you. How do you know that already? Well, You're our ideal prospect. We've researched for you. So now what we can do with the white label suite tool is we can find that ideal prospect. That's just step one. Now we can get AI to do incredible things with that. And I'll talk about in reverse. Again, I don't want to pitch too much, but we do that on a company level. That's one of our methods. We do that on a individual person level. So for example, you might say, look, mortgage brokers, great. But what I really want to speak to is the principal, the owner of the mortgage broking company. Cool. Well, let's do a people search. And instead of just finding the company record, now I'm finding the CEO, managing director of companies who are doing mortgage broking, who spend more than $50 million a year, who have got 15 employees and above. Great. Here's that detail. Here's their social media history. Here's their job system. Here's their personal contact information. Now research that person, find out what they speak about, find out their passions and their thing. So now my AI or myself, when I'm talking to them, I'm no longer approaching it as a cold contact. Hey, John, I really loved what you said last week about blah, blah, blah. That really resonated with me. I noticed that you did this, this, and this in your business, and I'd love to have a chat to you about that. Wow, you really did your research. Yeah, absolutely. I didn't. The AI did the research, right? So companies, individuals, and the third one that we've added, which is our most recent one, which is blowing people's minds, is the influencer model. So again, let's think about HighLevel as our example. We pick a lot of times we struggle. We see in the HighLevel group, people struggle to pick a niche, right? And I'm sure so many of you people have talked about niching down, finding a niche, choosing a niche, doing all that kind of stuff. Within the tool, there's even an AI niche selection system for you. So you put in who you are and what you do, push a button, and it says these are the niches you can go after. And again, that becomes your sale tool to go out to a business and show them, I can help you expand your market by finding new niches. Anyway, so influencers, we go, I'm after this niche. I'm after real estate agents, or I want to talk to business coaches, whatever. So the next question is, who already has that audience, right? Who already speaks to mortgage brokers? Who already speaks to business coaches? So now in our tool, you can come in and just type in the influencer module, business coaches, in my location if you want to get specific, and you can find all the people that have got incredible Instagram, YouTube, TikTok following. And again, you can dive into their content. You can find out how many likes, comments, shares, engagements they get on their post. What are they talking about? What's their audience affiliation? So what do their audience like? Their audience like business, and they like this. And okay, this is my... Now we can find people that have millions in their audience, or even 20,000 people follow that guy on Instagram. Well, now we can do something like Veet's doing right here. I can reach out to that influencer who I know speaks to my ideal audience with a little bit of context. And I can say, hey, Mr. Influencer, Mrs. Influencer, loved your content about business coaching. I've got a little interview that I'm putting together to educate people in that exact space. You're a thought leader here. I'd love to jump on an interview with you on Zoom and just talk about your passion. Now what happens, Veet, is that influencer kicks in what's called the ego effect, right? Mm-hmm. So that influence, you do a great job with that influence. So tell me about business coaching, tell me about real estate. And they're telling you, because that's what they're passionate about. Mm-hmm. They get up the call, and what do? They go onto their socials and they go, amazing post, amazing interview, loved this session, click. And their followers, who you know are your ideal audience, now are getting massive coverage for you and your business and for what you're doing. So the influencer module is massive. And one last piece about White Label Suite is that this is for you, for those who of you are listening, I want to see if I can draw this as a diagram with words. All right. So I'm going to see, I'll do the best I possibly can. Lead generation is typically one directional. In other words, we say, I'm looking for this type of business, go and find it for me. So I push out and say, go and find this for me. What we've built into the tool is bi-directional or two-directional, right? Meaning, here's your client, you've set up GHL for them, and they're running Facebook ads, or they're selling courses, or they're getting contacts coming into their GHL system. So over on the left-hand side, their GHL is running. Ads are coming, sales are being made, contacts are being added to their database through their normal activity. On the right-hand side now, we can bolt on the White Label Suite program, and every single time a lead comes into GHL, it can then come across to White Label Suite, and all of that amazing enrichment that I just spoke about a moment ago, all of that AI analysis, who are they? What do they do? What are their pain points? How long have they been in business? Who are their founders? What are their social media content? What are they talking about? All this stuff can happen in the background, and then update HighLevel without you ever touching it. So why is that valuable for a business? And I'm sorry, I'm monologuing here.
No, man, no, keep going. That's good.
Okay. So imagine this for a business, right? Imagine that you've just started working with a brand new business coach, and they've got ads on Facebook running. They've got an opt-in funnel. They're running a webinar. They've got sales being made through Stripe. All of that's happening, right? Now imagine this. Every time a sale is made, it goes into their HighLevel account. Great. The client gets access to the membership. Great. And now it's going across to this other program and enriching that data with all of that AI data. And 2 months go by. Now we've got 150 people that have purchased this business coach's course. And every single one of them has been analyzed by AI. Here's what I can do now. In GHL, I can simply export and include those fields. Now I've got a CSV file with all of that customer data and all of that AI enrichment. I can just take that and drop it into ChatGPT, and I can say, this is my current customer base. Find for me the trends of who they are, what they do, what their pain points are, and based on that, create my next 6 months worth of social media content for me.
Boom.
So being able to take existing data and enriching that data adds such an amazing element to lead generation. It's no longer just about lead generation. It's about market intelligence, allowing your business to grow. And the cool thing for us, finishing off the pitch, is literally we let you white label that. So you put your own brand on it, and you can go and sell that to a business on its own, standalone, integrated into HighLevel, upsold, for the full CRM system, and away you go. So that's what we've been doing over the last little while.
Yeah, mate. Wow. Where do I start? This is incredible. So I've got some homework to do. It looks like I've been behind on this stuff. And I've been paying for this and using it, but definitely need to use it more. So this is really good. Yeah, thank you for unpacking that. And guys, if you're like not excited right now, I don't know, maybe you're in the wrong space, but the opportunity is incredible. So we're talking repurposing, massive leverage. I'm a big fan of leverage overall. Like the reason why I'm doing this podcast is leverage, right? Everything is, when you can do it in leverage, it's more fun. That's just me. Mate, I when I do these interviews, I typically like to have, and talk about the personal and the entrepreneur journey and all that. And usually get into this type of stuff towards the end. But I wanted you to talk about it earlier because this is just too good not to share, So before we go and talk about and spinning back to, talking about your journey and the wisdom and all that, which is, which I'm excited for. Can you just tell the guys while we talked about it and you just finished the pitch, where do they go to get this thing? I think we've worked out something earlier. So
So we've set up something special for the listeners here with the HighLevel Experience Podcast. So if you go to whitelabelsuite.com, you can sign up, but you'll pay more. If you go to the special link that we've created specially for you guys as listeners of the HighLevel Experience, you are going to get a heck of a deal. So if you go to highlevelexperience.com/Walt, it's like Walt Disney, highlevelexperience.com/Walt, you're going to get a crazy deal. It's thousands of dollars off, heaps of additional training and systems and snapshots and programs. So you can go and grab White Label Suite. You can get an unlimited license. You can sell this unlimited times, and you can either pay a lot more for it at whitelabelsuite.com, or you can get all of that good stuff, the unlimited license, and you can get $1,000 off and a whole bunch of more stuff if you go to highlevelexperience.com/Walt.
I love it. Yeah, guys, go and check it out. And if you go there on that page, there's some additional things that you might want to check out as well. So yeah, definitely do that. Now let's move on. Walt, having successfully built and exited multiple software companies, what would you say are the top 3 lessons you learn about entrepreneurship through these experiences?
Great question, man. So number one, we talked about knowing when to cut, right? So the number one lesson that I've learned over the last 20 years of doing this is that your market decides your features. What I mean by that, if you are building a company, your market is the one that determines what they want from you. Because so many times I've seen entrepreneurs, and this is, we nearly buried ourselves. We nearly went under with a bad mistake that I made, where we thought, let me take that ownership. I thought I knew the best things to put out there into the marketplace. And I spent so much time and money creating what I thought was the best that we never actually got any market traction. We never made a single sale. We never got anywhere. We didn't have any money coming through the door. And it was just me pouring dollars into trying to create something that in fact nobody wanted. So the first lesson I would say is make sure you're building something that the market wants. Don't try and create a solution and then find a market. Find a market that has a problem and build the solution, right? Because otherwise you will go broke. And we see so many entrepreneurs create great ideas that should have never existed, right? That nobody actually has any intent of buying. Yeah. So my lesson number one is when you are deciding, I want to be an entrepreneur, I want to build my own business, I want to create something scalable. Number one, make sure that there's a market for it.
Yeah.
Make sure that you identify a problem and then build the solution. Don't go the other way. That would be advice number one.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. Can I just expand on that?
Yeah. Advice number two, I would say is...
no, hang on.
Yeah, go for it.
I was going to expand on what you just said.
Yeah, definitely.
It's a really cool thing that I learned yesterday. And it's a cool little twist. So I'm 100% on this. The market is what you need, the market validation first before you start developing anything. And also once you do start developing, you want to have a customer feedback loop as you're going through development. Right? You don't wait until it's perfect. That's why we love high level, right? It's the skateboard method, and just keep making money already and then keep iterating and making it better. This thing that I learned yesterday is like, well, you got a problem. There's an impact that you can provide by, providing a solution to the problem. And then there's a solution. And what this guy said yesterday to me is like, just don't worry about the solution, because the solution is that's the thing that you need to be flexible on. But if you just focus on the impact and focusing on the problem that the marketplace has and what the impact would be by solving that problem for them, then you've got a perfect business that everybody wants. So So forget about the solution. Don't get too married to the solution. Don't get too emotional about the solution. Like know when to kill the puppy or know when to move on. Right? Focus on the problem that the marketplace has and the impact that you could provide by helping them solve it. And the solution is flexible. You just got to be flexible. Back to you, mate. So what's the tip number two?
Yeah, number two. So this comes from every time I say to somebody, when COVID happened, dude, everybody went into work from home mode, right? And for 99% of the population, that was new. And I say to people, I've been working from home for 20 years. The next phrase that comes out of their mouth is so surprising to me. Because the next thing they say to me is, man, how do you find the discipline to stay on track? And I find that really a fascinating question. So my advice number two, for anybody that wants to create something for their own, is that you got to want it more than you want free time and relaxation. Because it's so easy to kick back on the couch and chill, right? And it's so hard sometimes to go, I just got to do one more little thing, right? And when you were doing the intro for me before, which I really appreciate, one of the things that I said was I'm passionate about people being able to create their future from the decisions they make today. Mm-hmm. And I say to my kids all the time, right? I'll teach you how to tell the future, right? It's a magic trick. I'll show you. They're like, sure, Dad, show me. Okay, cool. Here we go. I'm going to teach you how to read I'm going to teach you how to know the future. What if for the next 30 days, the only thing you ate was McDonald's? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, shakes, sodas, burgers. Only thing you're going to eat for the next 30 days is McDonald's. What are you going to look like at the end of that 30 days? Oh, Dad, we'd be overweight. We'd be fat. We'd be unhealthy. So what if for the next 30 days you ate great food and you exercised and you watched, the sugar and not too many biscuits and all that kind of stuff? What would you look like at the end of 30 days? We would be fit and healthy. Wow. So you can actually tell the future. How do you tell the future, Dad? You tell the future based on the decisions you make today. Mm-hmm. So when I'm talking about tip number two for being an entrepreneur is that the position you find yourself in 6 months or 12 months is a direct correlation to the decision you make today. And that decision could be reaching out to one more influential person to talk to them about getting on their podcast. That decision might be sending that email. That decision might be just popping up that YouTube video, right? The decisions you make today will determine the future. You can clearly outline the path. The only choice then is whether you want to do the work.
Exactly. Everything else is wishful thinking.
You got it?
Yeah. Right. You sent me an email, like you want to talk about 3 key topics: AI, mindset, and high ticket. I think we talked about AI a bit, so I think we could probably move on. Mindset,
They link together though. They link together. So AI,
yeah,
mindset, and high ticket. That's exactly what I want to talk to you about, Pete. And I want everybody to hear this, because a couple of months ago, HighLevel removed the minimum pricing. Did you see that? They used to have that you couldn't sell HighLevel for anything less than, I think it was $97 a month. They removed it.
Huh.
And everybody went nuts crazy. Everybody went crazy. Everybody was like, no, this is going to destroy. This is going to be the end. And sure enough, immediately after that, we see people with our own white label version doing a $27 lifetime deal. And it is the fastest path to bankruptcy that I've ever
misery.
Correct.
Misery.
So I want to talk about mindset, AI, and high ticket, because if you can wrap your head around this, the $27 single sale will be a joke to you. All right. So let me see if I can get you guys to wrap your head around this. Mindset. Number 1, if you give a business a tool that you charge them $27 for, how much do they value you and your time? Zero. You could give it away for free, and guess what they'll do with it? Nothing. Whereas, so if you and again, but I'm going to charge consulting time for what? A $27 program? Ain't no business on the planet that's going to pay you an hourly rate to do the setup for them on a $27 program. Just not going to happen, right?
The people that you're going to attract on that one is they're going to be penny and dime you on that one.
Right? 100%. So when we started our agency, we were pricing ourselves at $297 a month. And let me tell you, that nearly sent us broke. We just wanted those first sales. And if you're listening to this, if you're in that space where you go, I just want if I can just get 1,000 a month, I can, I hear you. But the problem is, if you get a client at $297, you then have to fulfill for them, right? You have to onboard them. You have to get them set up. You have to build their system for them, unless you're already outsourcing to one of the amazing outsource companies that are connected to HighLevel, right? But even then, you got to be able to pay for that outsourcing. So you're like, yeah, but I can't outsource because I've only charged $297 and I've got to eat next week. So here's step number 1. Never, ever, ever, ever sell without a setup fee, ever. And your setup fee is not for you. Here's like a big point with this. Your setup fee, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, whatever it is. Your setup fee is not for you to put in your pocket. Right? And again, Vit, I know you need it. I know it. You're like, yeah, but I got to pay rent. I got to put food on the table. I know, I get it. I've been there. I understand. If you bank that setup fee and you go and, buy pizza and live and pay your rent, you'll still be struggling to make dollars in 3 months' time. So here's what you do with that setup fee. You take that setup fee and you go to one of the amazing companies that are connected to HighLevel, all right? And you say, hey, will you be my VA and come and do this setup for me? And now you give that setup fee to your VA, which frees you up. Now you can go and get the next one and the next one and the next one. The very minute you get bogged trying to implement yourself, you've lost what I talk about in this sign right here, which is the magic that you have. Because here's the point. Anyone who's been through accreditation training, who's watched some YouTube videos, who's been around HighLevel for any amount of time, anyone, and we own a Facebook group that's got 20,000 VAs in it, right? Anyone can build a website and create an automation and do that kind of stuff. Now there's going to be some, incredible things that people like Vit do with the snapshots that build wonderful, amazing systems. We're not talking about that in-depth stuff. I'm talking about just set me up a funnel, create a form, give me an email opt-in list, and send out a welcome email. Yeah, easy, right? Anyone. But only you have something special in you that you can go and talk to the next business owner and get them to give you a $10,000 check, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the minute that you get bogged in implementation is the minute your business dies, unless you want to be an implementer, in which case build an implementation company and let other people come to you, right? But if you want to build a company that allows you to be free and create amazing things, outsource the implementation unless that's what you are doing as a business. You're either selling or you're implementing. You can't do both, right? So that setup fee, first point of call, high ticket, AI and mindset. The first thing is the mindset. You got to know that there are people in the high-level group right now that are selling high level as it's honest, like telling people it's high level and setting it up and implementing them for them and charging $50K. You got to know that there are people in the group that are doing that, right?
I believe it.
So that's the 100% truth, right? There are people that have 20 clients, but they charge them $5,000 a month, right? So there are people that are already selling it. How can you sell high level? Dude, hang on a second. You can go and buy high level from the next guy down the street and pay $27 one time. Perception is reality. That version is not as good as this version, but they're the same. No, they're not, because it comes with that guy, right? So mindset, you got to understand that people's perception of value, all right, increases with the price, right? Now, again, think about the time that you've been looking at two different products on Amazon. There's the cheap version and there's the expensive version. The reviews are about the same, but you buy the expensive one because it must be better.
Unless
right?
it's exactly the same product, yeah.
Yeah, that also happens with Facebook, right? with Amazon. But the perception of value. I'm looking at one hotel at $300 a night and another hotel at $112 a night. This one's a little bit nicer. Yeah. You know what I mean? The perception of value increases when the price goes up. So when you decrease the price, you're actually telling people that what you're offering is not worth it. So mindset, you got to charge more. You got to set that setup fee as an absolute non-negotiable fact. Yeah.
Can I add to that as well? Like, you know, the perception of value aside, it's also about just the pure business model of numbers. Like, if you're going to get somebody that's going to sign up for $27, that's the type of client that's going to penny and dime and will ask for more for free. They will want you to do more stuff for them. They'll be asking more support questions, or they'll be the ones that they want to build everything themselves. You might have thought, well, I'm going to give them a free account and then I'm going to make money on the fulfillment. But here you go. You know, a few months later, they actually realize all of those people, they actually want to do building themselves and they just want you to show them. They don't want to pay you anything. Yep. That's not scalable absolutely at all.
Jail.
You're just going to get flogged with emails with, you know, people calling you and like, you're not making any money. Nobody wins.
You're better off, like I said before, you're better off having 20 clients that pay you $5K each a month than you are having 100 clients paying you $1,000, or, you know, keep the numbers looking at it. So number one, mindset. You can do it. Your system's worth it. And the next piece is what it's worth to the business. So then I said high ticket and AI, right? So combining this together, everybody who's in business now, literally everybody, knows what AI is, right? You cannot walk this earth right now and not know what AI is. You also, as a business owner, will be in the 99% who know what it is, really want it, but don't have any clue or understanding on how to get it into their business and life. What we have with tools like HighLevel Suite, with HighLevel, with incredible tools like Closebot, we use Closebot internally, which we love, we just think they're incredible. With these tools, again, it's about creating a system for a business. So now what you can do is demonstrate to a business owner, literally demonstrate it. Demonstrate a lead being generated, a lead being qualified by AI inbuilt with HighLevel, a lead being called with AI voice, all right? A lead being qualified, booked into a calendar, and that calendar booking being sent to a client, right? You can demonstrate it. Now, when we talk to people about this, and we did a big series just before Christmas, where we were talking about people about what we call the 4-bot system, where we generate leads, bot 1, We use, again, internally, we were using Closebot at that time, Synthflow, we're still using Closebot. So we're just telling the bots that we built. Leads generated, leads qualified with Closebot, leads called using a voice AI system, and then the fourth bot being GHL to keep it all organized together, right? When we talk to people about this system, my business partner, Johan, was offered $50,000 plus flights and accommodation to come and set this up for a company here in Australia. I'll fly you in, come and talk about a setup fee, right? He got offered $50,000 to come and set this up for a company. Why? When I'm struggling to get $1,000 setup fee for setting up a landing page and an opt-in form funnel, why are you getting offered $50K? Because here's the deal. AI, as it exists right now, is the hottest market there is. And why is that? Because the AI never calls in sick. They don't ever have an off day. They stay on brand every conversation, every time. They ask the closing questions and they follow up every lead without excuses. And when you put that in front of a business owner, your ability to put your price on the back end of that is astronomical. So, Mr. Business Owner, I do not want you to buy a lead generation software program. I do not want you to buy a marketing automation software program. I do not want you to buy anything unless we put AI over the top of that. So when the lead is created, and again, you can set that up on autopilot with HighLevel Suite, the lead comes in, the lead makes contact, the lead is qualified, the lead is nurtured, the lead is followed up every time without fail, and the lead is booked into your calendar. I don't want you to buy another single tool unless you can show me that this is the process. Now, you keep HubSpot running over there and let me build this for you over here. My fee is 25 grand set up, $2,500 a month, and we will qualify every lead. We will call back every lead. We will give you the transcripts of the conversations. We will make sure that that nothing gets fall through the cracks. Bang. Now, mindset. Are businesses willing to pay for that? Hell yeah. They're already spending 50 grand a month on Facebook ads and the leads are not getting called back. So you just doubled their revenue straight up. So mindset, are businesses willing to pay for that? Hell yes. Right? Do we need to create this awareness that AI is going to do the job with them, not for them, not replace them, do it with them? Hell yes. And can we charge high ticket? Yeah. Because if you just want to employ a receptionist right now, just somebody to answer the phone, the costs are beyond belief, right? I got to advertise. I got to qualify. I got to do the interviews. I got to get them. And then they're here with me for 2 weeks and they take another a weekend off. At 5 o'clock, they walk out the door. I can put an AI agent in place for you. They'll answer the phone on brand every time. They'll never take a day off and they'll answer the call at 2:30 in the morning. And they can handle 100 times the volume of the very best employee that you could ever recruit. So my fee of $25,000 setup and $2,500 a month is a joke when you want me to get started. All right. So that's what I wanted you guys to walk away with, is that you have the opportunity in front of you right now to expand your business with the tools that are at your hands, right? And show business owners how you can help them grow and you can get paid really, really well for enabling that to happen for them.
Yeah, mate. Wow. You just keep dropping body bombs. That's incredible. I mean, like I said, I really like the product. I like what you guys do, HighLevel Suite. I'm a customer, I'm using it. But I feel like you just sold me again. Like I didn't need to be, but you sold me again. Like I'm going to be looking at this because obviously, like I said earlier, I've got some homework to do. Obviously, I haven't been following things because I've been busy doing other projects. But yeah, this is incredible. So this is obviously in the portal. I just got to go in and watch the courses.
So that training that I spoke about, so I said, if you go through Vid's special link, highlevelexperience.com/Walt, that training that we went through over Christmas, we literally show you the 4 bots, how to set them up, how to create that system that you can then high ticket and sell. We're including that training program in the system when you pick up HighLevel Suite. So you get an unlimited license to create as many accounts as you want, open as many doors as you want. You get all of the training, the systems, and the setup, and you get to hang around with us we do weekly calls. We do an open office hours every single week, huge community group there, and you get to come in and build your business and scale with us.
Just unreal. Well, this is awesome. Question.
Yo.
What is it like to run a business with another co-founder?
Wow, fascinating. When I'm up, he's down. When he's down, I'm up. It's one of the best things I've ever experienced. I was a solopreneur for a long time. We had a great team, but it was still me at the helm. So having a business relationship with Johan is phenomenal. We're friends as well as business partners, which makes a big difference. And I do have to say, I've heard more bad stories about partnerships than good, because they're the ones that get the attention. The partner ripped him off and whatever and blah, 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 blah. But I have to categorically say, being in business with a like-minded partner is the best thing I've ever done. He, as I said, when he's up, I'm down. Like if I'm having a hard time or going through, I just can't, I'm so stressed and so tired and exhausted. He's there picking it up and boosting us up and keeping us going. When he's down, I'm up, and the team, we have very clearly defined roles of what we do within the company. So there's no kind of, yeah, but mum said that and dad said that. There's none of that. We are very clear about what we do in the company. We call each other's bullshit quite often. If it's like, no, dude, you're hallucinating. Okay, cool. Walk it back. We have a really great relationship where we've come to, bashing heads only a handful of times, and every single time we've come out of it going, love you, man. You were so good. Thanks for calling me out. We're so much stronger as a result. So partnerships, I find, get a bad rap because of the stories that you hear. And if you're a solopreneur, you need a team. You 100% need a team. But just like for me, the life partners that you choose are your best support. Your business partners are in the same group, man. So best thing I ever did was partner up with Johan for sure.
So if somebody's, because I'm in that situation right now, I'm a solopreneur, but I know at some point I will need to have a business partner as things grow and scale. It's just good, even just from a perspective of just shared responsibility and contingency. There's so many benefits to it, right? God forbid something was to happen to me, like I've got responsibility to provide for my clients, all that stuff, right? How would I go about picking the right partner? Like what?
Great question. So I wouldn't, if you've already got an operating business, I would be, even despite my experience, I'd be very, very, very hesitant to cut somebody in, because unless they are bringing something of equivalent value to the table, you're giving away a massive percentage of what you've already worked for. Mm-hmm. So like if you're starting something new and you've got that partnership together and you're both going, let's go, then you're starting new and you're going forward. In terms of the solopreneur creating freedom for themselves, and that's what you're really talking about, is making sure that we've got, Dan Sullivan calls it a self-managing company, right? So there's a great book, by the way, which is called 10X is Easier Than 2X. Highly recommend it. And what he talks about is creating that self-managing company. And there's 3 phases that everybody goes through. And again, I'm quoting directly from this book, so this wisdom isn't mine, but I've just listened to this book probably 50 times in the last 12 months. Phase 1 is what they call the rugged individualist, right? It's the person who gets started and gets a couple of clients, creates a bit of thing, has a couple of systems going on. That rugged individualist is always the entrepreneur, the person that goes out on the limb and creates. But then you go from being a rugged individualist to a level 2 leader. And in the book, what he's talking about is you're deploying who, not how. So we go like this. We go, all right, today in my business, I need to create a whole bunch of new Facebook ads. All right, how do I do that? Pause, wait for a second. Not how do I do that? Who should do that for me? Mm-hmm. Because there are things, Vit, that you are exceptional at. Not only that you're exceptional at, that you just really love to do. And you'd probably do them even if nobody paid you for it. That's your zone of genius. That's your piece that you can live the rest of your life doing that and have an incredibly happy life. You go, yeah, but there's all the other stuff that I need to get done as well. Cool. So why don't you get somebody else to do the other stuff for you so that you can charge more for the thing you love to do, right? So for me, as you said, not getting into podcasting, getting back into podcasting. I had a podcast that was in the top 5% of podcasts in the world. It's what I love. I love this. So how do I create a business then that doesn't need me? Because I want to do this. How do I make money from this? Well, the way I make money from this is make sure my company is doing all of the other stuff so I can do this and not have to worry about it, right? So step 1, to go from rugged individualist doing everything yourself, and then you need to move to who, not how. And it's, even if it's working with part-time VAs, talented people that you go, I need someone to set up my Facebook ads. I need somebody to run my calendar. I want, high-level Pro Tools to be able to do my installs for me, whatever. And one of my colleagues, Kyle, who's our operations manager, he has a great saying that says, 80% done by someone else is 100% awesome. So even though they're not going to do the same job as you, you just freed up 100% of your time so you can go and do what you love, right?
Or even put more simply, you can always get more money, but you're never going to get back the time.
You got to get freedom of time first. So rugged individualist, you got to then engage who, not how. And then the last step of that is to move up to a level 3 leader, which is creating a self-managing company. And that only happens when you give trust to your team and you share the vision of what you want. So example, with Kyle in our company, we trust Kyle 100%. And I can say to Kyle, dude, what I want to see is this, and this, or like, this is the end result. I don't care how you do it. I just want that at the end. And Kyle goes and creates. So that frees Johan and I up to do what we love to do. So you first do everything yourself, then you engage who, not how, and then you empower those valuable people and you share the vision of what you're trying to achieve and let them explore their own genius in their roles, because they love working for you. They love working with you. They want to do well with you and for you. You got to give them the trust and the room to be able to grow and achieve so that you can move up to the next level. So I would be very hesitant about bringing in a business partner for the sake of, I'm so dead tired that I just need someone to help me. You don't need a business partner, you need a VA.
Yeah.
Right. And just move those steps up. Unless you come together at a pub somewhere and you go, this guy's amazing and has an incredible business. I'm amazing and got an incredible business. Together, we're like a 4-wheel drive race machine. Stand back, everybody can't be touched. Unless that's the real scenario, I wouldn't bring in a business partner just for the sake of growth and expansion. It's not the right move.
Mm-hmm. I want to go back to what you're saying there in like not what but who. I feel like, and it's maybe coming from my personal as well experience of how I am, I think there's what makes somebody want to go down there or feel like, yeah, now's the right time. Because like if you're starting out and you bootstrapped it and at the beginning, maybe it's the confidence thing, right? Until you get your first customers, you're gonna have the doubts, right? You're gonna doubt yourself. You're gonna be like, it's gonna work. Once you start getting deals, like I think confidence goes up, and then you start to feel a bit more clearly about. And when I'm talking about confidence, I'm talking about confidence of being able to generate revenue as well.
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
if you don't have the confidence in being able to generate more revenue, then you're always going to be,
struggling. You're not going to want to.
I'm not going to hire somebody because I don't have money for it, right? And I've been like that. But for the last 12 or so months, business has been going really well. It keeps growing, and now I'm starting to feel like a lot more confident about actually the delegation aspect and looking for the people who do the what rather than me doing it. So it's great when you get to that, but it's just, it's all just happening here. Nothing else changed. Right. It's just like the mindset. Like I can see it more clearly. That's leverage. I guess I keep saying leverage. Like I'm a big fan of leverage, like from like sales perspective and leverage from being able to generate more customers. Just to share a little bit if I can. My strategy for this year, for example, is all about referral partners, more referral partners, leveraging more on podcasting, more on one-to-many, more webinars. I've actually just invested in January into the whole new setup about how to run immersive webinars. I'm going to show you that, by the way. It's next level. You guys need to do this. There's this guy in Brazil. His name is Felipe. And I come across him through Taki Moore because I saw Taki Moore, one of the really good coach to coaches guy. If you guys are not from Australia, you might not have heard of him, but he's pretty big. I'm sure you know him.
Yeah.
Right. And he talks about, how he came across this guy on Instagram and he saw what he does. And basically what it is you run a webinar on Zoom. Everybody that runs webinars on Zoom, you might do a bit of an intro and then, okay, guys, so let me share a screen, and then they no longer see you. So then the connection disappears. What he figured is that's where dropouts tend to happen and the conversion is not as great. But he figured out if you can come up with some cool overlays and make it more interactive with things like webinar starts and you say, hey, put in the chat which city and which country you're from. And then a cool little overlay shows up of the map of the world and red pins start to show on the
Nice.
countries that they
Nice.
put in the chat. Like,
Yeah.
it's incredible. So anyway, like, I'm excited about this stuff because I'm about to.
That's great.
I've spent a lot of time learning it, training it. I've got the setup. It is very techy, I got to warn. But if you guys are interested, I'm going to put it in the show notes. You could check out Felipe. It's called Inside the Show, the program. Yes, yeah, you invest, but you learn. But I think it's going to be awesome. And anyway, back to what I was saying. You know, like, leverage, confidence comes with being able to see the validation of what you do actually creates impact, and people want to pay for it.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And your key then is to make yourself so valuable at what you do that you can increase your prices and pay your team. You know, so once you have that validation, then you can say, you know what, we've been doing this too cheap. I've been charging 1,000. I'm going to be charging 4. You know, and it's straight away your value in the marketplace goes up, and your ability to free yourself up goes exponential. As soon as you can raise your prices and pay a team, then you can just keep on doing that thing that makes you great. You know, whatever that is, whatever that might be. If you are the world's greatest house painter, then the last thing you should be doing is answering the phone and booking in the calendar. You should just be painting houses. You should be so damn good at that the fee you charge for it is astounding. And the great analogy there is like top level athletes or sports professionals, right? Where they're getting $200 million for a season. And they play 45 minutes a week. Why? Because they're the best in the world. And those 45 minutes makes millions of people stop what they are doing and watch them because they are that damn good. And when we look at our lives as entrepreneurs, there's something that we all do where you are that damn good, where you are that damn good at creating automations that if people could watch you do it on a live stream, you would blitz the Twitch records, right? There's something that you do that you're that damn good. And not only, you might not be the world's best at it, but you love it so much that you would practice it. That's the thing you should do 80% of your time, which means you need to free up everything else you do. Because if you are the world's best funnel builder, or you love building funnels so much that people would watch you do it because you are just showing your love for that, that's all you should be doing, which means you should charge more for it. Because if I'm the best in the world at this, then I'm going to charge accordingly, right? If I'm not the best in the world, but maybe I'm the best in 10,000, I can still put my price from 50 to 500 and people still pay, right? So when you find the thing that you just love to do so much, price that up, because you're the athlete that people will stop what they're doing and watch. You're the one that people will go, whoa, have you seen that guy and the way he does that? That's amazing. Charge for that, right? So that gives you the freedom and the cash flow to bring someone into your company that does everything else. Manages your email, manages your calendar, gets back to people, connects up your automations, fixes a thing, does it, whatever. You can be the best house painter in the world and charge $10,000 an hour because you're an artist, man. You're Ronaldo on the field. You got to have something that you're the best in the world, and therefore you charge accordingly, right? You don't get Ronaldo to work on the field for $50, right? So charge more by doing what you love and give that extra money to other people to take away all the other stuff that you do.
Yeah, I love it, mate. Well, at the beginning, you mentioned how, becoming a father and your daughter being born out, a lot of things change for your perspective. But I also know that you're a passionate martial artist, a Taekwondo black belt for that matter. How has that influenced your approach to business and leadership, being a black belt at Taekwondo?
Yeah, great question, man. Thank you. So when I started Taekwondo, let me go back a little bit further. When I was 18 years old, I wrote down a list of 100 things I wanted to do in my life. Yeah, it was crazy things on there, bungee jumping and that kind of stuff. But the number one thing on that list was I wanted to get a Taekwondo black belt, right? I wanted to be a black belt in Taekwondo. So that was when I was 18. But I didn't start training until I was maybe 26, 27. And by that stage in my life, I already shared I was the most dedicated employee you've ever met, right? Which means my health was real bad. I was desperately overweight. I talking pounds and kilos, I can't do the conversion, but roughly 30 kilos overweight, which makes me 65, 80 pounds overweight. Couldn't run 100 meters without collapsing. I was in trouble. And I decided at that point in my life to start Taekwondo. So I walked into the club and it's actually still in the city where I still live. I walked into this club and I was not confident. I was embarrassed by who I was. I was dressed in ugly sweats, and there's all these like people doing these kicks and punches, and I was just standing quietly at the back. And I saw this guy, and his name's Jamie, and we're still good friends to this day. I saw this guy at the front of the room, probably 15 years older than me, right? So I'm mid-20s. He's 40. And he's at the front of this room, and this dude was a weapon. I was watching him kick, like you could kick the doors off a car, man. That guy, oh my God, he was like an aura of like that guy. I don't want to mess with him. He is insane. So halfway through this class, you know, if you've ever done martial arts, they put the good guys at the front, the black belts, and then they work it back so that you're always looking at the person who's just one step better than you. So I was all the way at the back, but this guy was all the way at the front. And they did the thing where they do a couple of bits and pieces, and then they say, cool, partner up, and let's do this thing that they call sparring, which is pretty much fighting.
Yeah.
You know, let's fight.
Yeah.
Right? So I don't know what made me do it, but this decision changed my life. I made a straight line for Jamie at the front of the room.
The black belt guy.
The black belt, the weapon. I went straight from, what the hell am I doing in this room? And I said, if I'm going to fight, I want to fight that guy. And maybe it was self-punishment. I don't know. But as I walked up to Jamie, I said he looked at me with question marks in his eyes. And he honestly, the first thing he said to me was, really? And I said, dude, I want to be a black belt. You've already got one. Looks good. Look like a good fit to me. Mm-hmm. He said, cool.
I like that.
Let's go. And he was an incredible teacher. But the real lesson came this next step, right? So we did our thing, and I'm like out of breath, exhausted on the floor. And he like puts an arm under me and helps me back up to my feet. And I said to him, dude, how did you get to where you are? And this guy, Jamie, was a window installation truck driver. Like, that's what he did. That was his day job. But the next words out of his mouth are the most motivational things I've ever heard in my entire life out of all of the speakers I've ever listened to. What he said was, I just kept turning up to training. And as I look back at that in my life, I started from the lowest position that you could possibly find yourself from a Taekwondo black belt point of view. And Jamie said, the difference between the guy at the front of the room and the guy at the back of the room is probably about 200 classes. You just keep turning up. You just keep coming one more time. You just keep doing it one more time. And eventually you've done it 10 times. And now you've done it 30 times. And now you've done it 100 times. And you didn't ever set out to do it 100 times. You did it once. And you did it one more time after that. And now I've got a 3rd degree black belt. So I've been training for a long time. But you asked me, how has that changed my business and my life? Mm-hmm. So here it is. Whatever it is that you need to do, be that an Instagram reel, be that the next phone call you need to make, be that the next automation you need to build, or be that the next step you need to take, whatever that is for you, if you just decide to keep turning up to class over and over again, you go from the back of the room to the front and people are watching you, right? So the biggest lesson I can ever give you is just keep turning up and keep working at it, because then you're no longer the guy at the back. Now there's somebody watching you and you're teaching them, but you still got that one more step to go. Just keep coming to class. Just keep doing what you need to do. Just do one more, because you'll make it.
Mate, you should have been a motivational speaker.
I am, bro, every day.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let me take you back here. Well done, mate. This is awesome.
Thank you.
And yes, I have done martial arts before, and I really enjoyed, and I'm looking forward to get back to it. I actually had a really good jiu-jitsu back here in Canberra. Back before we left to Czech Republic, I did a little jiu-jitsu, but then my son was born, and that was just became a little bit tricky. Oh yeah, there you go. If you guys if you're watching, yeah, what was showing is 2nd degree.
I keep it close because it reminds me of that lesson.
Reminder, yeah, I like that. And I've also tried Krav Maga when I was.
Oh, that looks amazing.
So I've never done Krav Maga, and a mate of mine, one from Scotland, he lives in Berlin, and we caught up. in Prague and for a weekend. It was good. And then he goes, I'm organizing this like Krav Maga, like a week intensive. Just, it's not for public. It's not an offer. It's just me and two of my best mates and you, mate. Like I want to have you there. So
Hell
it's just
yeah.
really private. His mate, this other coach, this other Krav Maga coach, he's got his own dojo. So my mate, what he did is hired out the whole dojo for 4 days, just us. And we trained every day for 8 hours.
Wow.
So I went, it's like an analogy of a weekend warrior, right? From
Right.
nothing to like getting smashed. So as soon as I landed in Berlin, we drop our stuff at his place. And I thought, like normally, like, crack a beer open and just, like meet and greet. Like, it's great having, I haven't seen you, mate. And you're like, come on, hurry up, get your shit, let's go and run.
Yeah, let's get down the grin. Love it.
I had flip flops, so I'm like, guys, I haven't even took shoes off. It's your fault. Come on, let's go and run. We're gonna catch a train. It was like brutal, and he, he put himself into that position. He's like, man, I'm your mech, but I'm for these 4 days. This is like we're gonna go all in. I'm like, all right. And yeah, we just practiced. Oh, mate, it's great. And obviously a lot of shortcuts. So normally in Krav Maga, things take a longer before they introduce you to knives of defense or other things. But because this was like just us, a private experience, and it was him and the other coach. So it was the ratio of 2 coaches for 3 people. It was, you can't get any better. And so we just did, all the different things you think. It was, knife defense and like all those things. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I was smashed. I had a lot of bruises. 4 days. But it's been great. And actually, there's Krav Maga classes just started here in Canberra, and I'm gonna start doing those. I just gotta get a couple of things out of my desk. But yeah,
let's keep going to class.
Mate, this has been amazing. This has been really good. I've been looking forward to having you.
I really value it, man. Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, we have a couple more segments that I usually go through, but I'll probably just skip through because we're running out of time. But there is one segment that I think I'll do want to keep on, and that is just a couple of rapid fire questions regarding high level. What about high level region to grab your attention? Was there something specific or a problem you were trying to solve?
Yeah, for me, it was everything all in one. So we kind of realized the value and the power of the agency model. Second, like we saw that as an amazing income opportunity. Second, the first thing for us was everything all in one. So that was what really caught my attention, was that you can combine so many things into one environment and you don't have to have multiple tools plugged in. After that, we went, whoa, we can sell this? Hell yeah, let's go. So it was definitely the functionality that caught our eye.
And obviously you saw that like you were trying to develop your own products, but as you said at the beginning, you realized, well, this company's tracking faster than us. There's no way we're going to compete.
Yeah, definitely. And what they do so well. So rather than, the great thing about high level is you don't need to be a software dev to have the very best social media management system at your fingertips. You just have to pay an agency license, a couple of grand a year, and you can sell it unlimited times. Why wouldn't you take that? That's a great idea.
Yeah. And obviously ideally get certified and learn how to use it, or have somebody on your team who knows ins and outs of that.
Yeah.
That's I like to say, like, when people ask me like, hey, why wouldn't I just go and directly to high level? I'm like, well, you could, but I've been at it for 5 years and I'm still learning.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
What new high level feature or digital marketing tool are you most excited about right now, and why?
AI voice and AI agents, without a shadow of a doubt, because I feel like business owners want it done for them. Mm-hmm. And AI does that without needing to be employed, interviewed, given days off. AI is definitely the most exciting feature for me.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm same. What are you looking forward to the most in the future high-level releases, and why?
Wow, I haven't kept up with the roadmap. I'm just constantly amazed by what Sean puts out. But I think, as we stand here, as we record this, the concept of AI agents is only just taking root. And I think the introduction of an AI agent that does specific things in the software for you based on command will be a game changer.
Yeah, so I think an example of that right now, if you guys use ClickUp, you can now basically have a bot that understands everything that's happening inside your ClickUp, from documents, anything you've got, and you can ask it. So I think a high-level release, something like that later on down the track, where you could just have a conversation to say, hey, out of all the people in my CRM, is there anybody that you reckon I should contact right now? And it could just, go
analyze
through it, analyze. Yeah, that would be pretty incredible. Yeah. If you could give one piece of advice to a new high-level user to make their life easier when adopting and using high level, what would that be?
People will say things like niche down, focus on one thing, find a solution. I would say the best thing that you could do would be to build your belief in what you have at your hands. And the best way I think you could do that would be to track down some of the case studies of people who have grown incredible businesses as a result of HighLevel. Because once you know that it can be done, then anyone can do it. And if you have the belief that what you have in your hands is incredible, you'll have more confidence the next time you're talking to somebody on the phone about what you can do for them, because you will have already seen that it can be done for others.
Yeah, yeah. And also seek more no's. Like more no's you can get, closer you get to yes.
Truth.
On this podcast, we have a segment called The Beef, where we discuss constructive feedback on HighLevel to improve the platform and get upvotes on the ideas board. One thing that you may not know if you're new to HighLevel is, unfortunately, you cannot pitch your own ideas that you've put on the ideas board through the Facebook group. It gets taken down. There's reasons for it. Now, I've made this podcast because I enjoy podcasting, and I've created this particular question. Well, I've put together this question, the Beef segment, as an opportunity for you guys to get to promote your upvotes. Are there any challenges or frustrations that you personally will have faced with HighLevel recently that you'd like to talk about?
Look, I think every time we've come up with a suggestion on the board, it's happened. So we are absolutely ecstatic about the fact that it's happening. But one of the big ones for us as a development company that's working, side by side with HighLevel at the conference in Dallas, what they talked about, and this is techie, right? But what they talked about in a very closed session after the event was wrapped, sitting down with one of the devs, he mentioned a concept which is called headless. And that is where the elements of the program, so think about the contacts, think about the automations, think about the funnel builder, think about the membership area, where those elements will be taken out of the interface and accessible via API. And that allows a software development company to access the functionality of that module without ever having to have a user account inside of GHL. So to us as a developer, and especially, we're thinking about lead generation. Imagine if we could have the contacts and the automations inside our dashboard. And so you could go lead gen into contacts into automations, and you could do it all from one platform. So there is a move towards what they call headless, which is going to open the doors for other software companies to use the power and the functionality of HighLevel inside of their own apps by plugging in APIs. To me, that is like
genius,
incredible. Yeah.
So not exactly the beef, but a feature suggestion. Now, guys, for you listening, if you do have any, so obviously Walt mentioned, anything that he's put up on the ideas board has actually gone through and is been rolled out. But sometimes, it is a democratic way where certain things don't get as many upvotes, and so they stay on the back burner until they get discovered. So if you have a really good idea and is not getting enough upvotes, you can actually submit your idea and we'll feature it on the episode. If you just head over to HighLevelExperience.com/the beef, all you got to do is just make a short recording, audio recording, what the pain point is for you, what feature it is, and most importantly, a link to the ideas board where you've already submitted that suggestion. That's the rule, because otherwise, we need to have a link so that we can
find it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's what that is. We also have another segment called 3 Under 3, which is 3 short stories, each story under 60 seconds, sharing or highlighting a positive impact that you've made on a client, to a client or to client's business and the day to day. Do you have a quick success story, just one success story or an amazing result that from using HighLevel that you'd like to share to inspire our listeners? Well,
yeah, definitely, man. So the super quick story, client named Jack runs a real estate buyers agency. What we were able to do for Jack was actually set up a referral system using HighLevel. So he was going out to mortgage brokers, and what he wanted to do was let mortgage brokers register their leads via him so that a lot of people in mortgage broking, they'll get finance approval, but then they don't actually buy a house. So the finance approval lapses after a certain amount of time. So whole message was, if you got the finance approval, you've done the hard work, you may as well get paid for it. So you only get paid when they take out a mortgage. Right. If they register their leads, he as a buyer's agent could then suggest properties and help the mortgage brokers to finalize that deal for their clients. So Jack, well into his 70s when he met us, not technical, but because of HighLevel's ability to have tracked referrals through the affiliate program, we were able to create a buyer's registry so that the mortgage brokers could register their leads. And after a certain amount of time, they got properties suggested to them from the buyer's agent, helping everybody win across the board.
Mate, that's genius. I mean, earlier on in this conversation, I mentioned how I was talking to buyer's agents today. You've just helped me come up with another level offer that I'm going to pitch to them. This is great.
Awesome. Perfect.
Excellent. Guys, if you have a story and you're doing amazing things with your SaaS, your high-level agency, and would like to help inspire others that are trying to do the same, you can actually submit your story too. Video would be great. Just a short selfie style, 60 seconds. Just say your name, the agency your agency name, who you helped, what was the impact, 60 seconds, just short and punchy. And we'll slot them into one of the episodes. And obviously what you get in return is feeling good that you've helped inspire somebody else and show them that there's a true validation of this works, and the world's big enough, the marketplace is big enough, and we can all win. And ultimately what we do is we can make greater impact to a lot of small businesses. And if more of us do it well, more businesses win and everybody wins.
Perfect.
I've got a tricky question for you. Are you ready for that one, Walt?
Go, fire away, man.
We're all humans. No one is perfect. What are you not very good at?
I'm terrible at cooking. I am the world's worst cook. My wife is the world's greatest cook. So anytime if she's away or if she's doing something else, man, the dinners in our house are absolutely terrible. I've cooked one meal for her in our nearly 20 years of marriage, and I set the fire alarm off. So I was never allowed to do that again. What do I suck at? Dude, that's definitely cooking.
Right. Well, I'm the other way. I'm a qualified chef by trade. My wife, she isn't. So that's something I always, because when she does something, when she cooks something, I feel like I want to help her. I want to give her an end advice. She freaking hates it. She just says, look, if you just kept quiet and just ate what I made, it would work. Instead,
the world would be a cleaner, easier place.
Yeah. Tell me something that's true that almost nobody agrees with you on.
Tell me something that's true that almost nobody agrees with me on. That's a tough one.
And if you haven't got an answer, it's fine. I sometimes
it goes philosophical again, but any one single person can change the world.
Go again?
Any one single person can change the world.
You reckon?
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. The right person with the right message, in the right environment, with the right medium. Never doubt it. If you believe it, you can change it.
I'd like to believe it. Yeah. My brain goes straight to, well, what about people who, I don't know, when born with, that have, difficult, I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, those are just excuses, I guess. Yeah.
And for every excuse, there's a real case study that proves against it. But that's why, not everybody believes it, but I believe it to be true.
Yeah. Mate, we're at the end. Thank you so much.
Okay, man. You're welcome.
It's been a pleasure. Good to touch base again. I think last time we spoke was when you guys ran the HighLevel Expert Summit June last year. Hope you're going to run another one this year. I would love to participate again. That'll be great. And guys, thank you so much for listening as well. Don't forget to check out the offer by heading over to highlevelexperience.com/Walt to learn more about White Level Suite and all this amazing stuff that we talked about today. Once again, thank Walt for jumping in today. Guys, thank you for listening. Thank you, mate. Thank you for listening to today's episode on the HighLevel Experience, everybody. If you've enjoyed today's episode, then please share it with your fellow agency mates and other high levelers that you think would also benefit from listening. For show notes, links, and extra tips to help you grow your agency or your SaaS with HighLevel, please go to highlevelexperience.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of your day, everybody.